everything you own should not be 100% yours. If not, you don't have a brand. Your brand is not influential. You do, yes.
It's everything you do is just on you.
It's not that you don't have an influential brand. If you've not built influence, if nobody is saying, come and do this, I want to give you this, you don't have a brand. No, let me tell you. You are just starting your journey.
Stretch Street Podcast.
Hello beautiful people, my name is Grace So Amazing. So I want to invite you to be a part of my inner circle. Alright, so I am a life and personal development coach. What I do is I help people build systems. And what I mean by building systems is something that looks like habits that can help you achieve your goals in 3 critical areas of your life. I'm very, very particular about health and wellness, relationship and family, and career and business. Look, I understand what it means to struggle in all these areas that I have just mentioned, and I am willing to show you how to navigate through tough times. I've been there, and I'm also certified to help you navigate through these trying times. Do not take my word for it. All you need to do is click the link that you can see below and be a part of my inner circle.
If you're a woman in your 40s, then you might be able to relate with what I have to say. There is this dissatisfaction you feel because for the longest time, you have pushed aside your own dreams on the table of sacrificing for those that you love. Before now, you told yourself, when I'm done giving birth, I'm going to do this thing. When my husband finishes this project, I will do mine. And for some reason, you've put everyone else before you and pushed yourself to the back. And so there's this longing in your soul, calling for those things that you've pushed behind the scenes. And now you feel this dissatisfaction. You're restless in your spirit. You know that there is more for you, but you can't figure out, how do I get out of here? You are the one I'm talking to. I say this because I've been there. For the longest time, I told myself, you know what, I won't go to school so that my younger ones could go before me. And so I kept pushing that until I was ready. Of course, my last one, got into school and I'm like, yes, this is the time. But guess what? Because I've pushed myself back for too long, I ended up making the wrong decision. However, through coaching, I was able to find my way back on track. And now I'm able to impact the lives that I want to impact, loving my loved ones without having to sacrifice anything. And you can do the same thing. So I'm inviting you to be a part of the Reclaim You coaching program that I'm putting together just for you. This is not for everyone. This is for you if you're a woman in your 40s and you want to stop sacrificing yourself but still be able to love those you care about. Click the link in my bio to apply now. I have only 10 slots for this batch. See you. All right. Welcome, guys. You're welcome to another episode on Your Voice, Your Impact. This is the energetic EJ. I hope you're well. I hope your day is going on fine. And happy new month. I think the last time we saw, it was an old month. It was in January. And now we are in February. Yeah. It's called the month of love. So I should have put on something red to showcase love, but no, love is in my heart. I am love is me. So it's not about what I wear, okay? But I think Gracie got the memo, and so she's here with red representing love. She's a lover girl than I am. So I'm just going to bring her up so you can see for yourself. Lover girl.
Yeah. Funny thing is, I don't actually think that love, we try to make love look like the color red, but I have my own reservations. I don't think love is red. I don't know, but I mean,
what do you think
it is? I think love is colorless.
Fancy. I love that. Okay, so I'm getting
feedback.
Yes. Hold on, I think
Hold on, I
maybe
think maybe
I'm trying to see
trying to
whether
see whether
my other
my
YouTube is
other
playing this
YouTube
one.
is playing this one.
No, it's not.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
but I'm
Yeah,
getting
but I'm
feedback.
getting
All
feedback.
right, guys.
All
Sorry,
right, guys. Sorry, we're getting.
I'm getting some sort of
I'm getting some sort
feedback.
of feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I mute my mic to
Mute.
see?
Let me see.
Mute.
Okay, so now that you're muted, I can't hear it anymore. Okay, so we'll have that back and forth then. So when I was speaking, could you hear any feedback from your end? No. Okay, I see. All right, it must be from my end. Sorry about that, guys, but yeah, I can't hear it right now. So I'll probably will mute back and forth. I don't know how that is going to work. Because alternatively, maybe if I um put on my earpiece, but then the sound might not be great. Anyways, let's manage and see how it goes. Okay, guys, welcome. I'm going to shut up quickly so that Grace can take over the conversation. But you're welcome. Welcome to February. Like she said, she feels love is colorless. Well, but the world, the whole wide world. I've painted love the color red and white, But anyways, that's what we represent right now. So welcome. Today we're talking about love. Hey, me, I'm not a lover girl like this woman that you're looking at over here. So she's going to drive me. But I'm all about love because it's funny because my on my podcast, my next episode actually opens up with love and something new about love that I learned from the book I'm reading in January, which is The Purpose Driven Life. And, something that really jumped at me on the subject of love. I'm sharing that on the podcast. It's going to be out this Wednesday. I'm already putting clips here and there. So please look out for that. But as we normally do, talk about a little bit of the weekend. For me, weekend started on a very downward spiral. But I'm grateful that it ended on a very lighter note. So, and the week has kicked off so fantastically. Like, I had a meeting with somebody today and it was great. We had deep connection, deep conversation. And I feel like, okay, this week is looking great already. And I'm super grateful for that. So, yeah, Gracie, over to you. How was your weekend? And then please drive
Please
us through
drive
this
us through
love
this love
conversation.
conversation.
So is me you want to put on this scale today, but I'm up for it. Like you rightly said, I am a lover girl and I'm owning and grabbing it. Yes. Hi everyone, how are you? So I'm going to be speaking. I would almost be screaming because I watched our last episode and I realized that I couldn't hear my voice clearly. So I'm going to correct that. I'm definitely going to get a mic very soon. But while I'm at it, today, what can I use today? What do I have in my hand I can use today is to increase the volume of my voice. So if it feels like I'm screaming, please pardon me. I just want to make sure that when we're done with this and somebody's watching this or listening to this, it will be audible enough. So yes, my weekend was amazing. I rested. So I have started. I think when you do something over time, you just notice that it will just start working without even thinking about it. It becomes, that's what they call in NLP, it becomes an unconscious competence. An unconscious competence. You just see yourself going and flowing. So I think that's what I have been able to gather or have been able to prime myself in recent times. So there are weekends that I'm all out having fun, meeting people, doing one social works or one community work or the other. And then another weekend, I am lying flat on my bed doing absolutely nothing. Like I would just sit down there, right? And one thing I just added recently, before I would lie down and hold my phone and I'm still scrolling and energy still escaping in one way or the other. So, but this one last weekend, I kept my phone somewhere very far from me, and I just allowed myself to enjoy space, allowed myself to enjoy myself, listening to my thoughts, listening to me, and it was fantastic. And I think, again, the conversation we had last weekend, for me, I am a practical application, whatever you want to call it. When we had Laura, yeah,
Application
Application
junkie, they carry am. I don't just, that is why I'm very particular about the space where I find myself, because you might say something that I might want to try out. So what Laura said about solitude and all of that, I started practicing it. So one day I tried it. Let's see how I'm able to do it for 3 days. So my weekend was amazing. It was beautiful, and I really rested, and I'm ready for this week. And yes, like the energetic EJ said, that I'm a lover girl, and this month we were supposed to have a guest, but she called some minutes just before we got on that she won't be able to join. Something came up and she had to go attend to it, but it's fine. We were born ready. Even the energetic that is there saying that she's not a clinical, she will talk. Don't worry, because what we're going to start with, so we'll make this like a series. It's going to be, we have what we'll talk about today, introducing us into the subject matter, which is love. And then afterwards, we would have people come. We want to make it singles, couples, and we just want to do something really holistic. So I think today is a very beautiful day, and then we want to talk about love, what love generally is to us, and how we can love on ourselves, and the things that we can do practically, because there's this global saying that I agree so much with, that how can you love another if you don't love yourself? So today we're going to be driving the conversation around loving self. But before we go into that, I want to quickly say that we're products of love. So if you're watching this right now and you're saying to yourself that, Yimu, you know what they say when they're talking about love, people say, love, whether you like it or not, you're a product of love. Our parents, at some point in time, met, made love, and created us. So for whatever it is worth, we are products of love. So what I'm going to start with is, in fact, it is even good before you would be the one to throw questions. So now that you have made me to be driving this, I'm going to be asking you questions, and it will be around the subject matter. So when you hear the word love, what comes to mind?
Well, for me, first of all, God is love. I know it sounds cliche. Like, yeah, of course, that's what we've heard all along since we're kids. God is love. And like I mentioned earlier on, because of what I'm learning afresh about love from the book we're reading, is just that love is actually the essence of life. Like when you look at it, love is the essence of life. And if we learn to love and grow in love and live from a place of love, life will be worth living. Because then if we do everything with the filter or with the lens of love, there is a lot of difference that it will make in the whole world. And that begins with just loving you yourself first. Well, no, it doesn't begin from there. It actually begins from loving God. Because again, it's like it is in you loving God that you understand what love is, for you to be able to pass that love to yourself. And when you look at that love from this angle, it becomes easier to transfer it to this angle, which is love for other people. So again, for me, God is love, and love is the essence of life. And I think that on its own is something that we have to unpack for the rest of our lives. We have to keep learning it. We have to keep understanding it and unveiling what it means on a level that goes deeper and deeper.
it's very interesting that we're starting this from that angle, and I think it's a beautiful place to start, and it is also a beautiful place, to drive the conversation around loving self. Somebody said that, um how can you love how can you say you truly love someone when you or how can you say you truly love a God that you don't see? How can you say you truly love a God that you don't see, but find it really hard to love the people around you? Now, that particular statement, I read it in a book, where somebody was there was a question of how loving the unlovable. That's something we're going to deal with later, as we continue in the conversation. But it's in loving God that you cannot see, the invisible being that we were, realistically speaking, we were told about, that there is a God somewhere. There is, and you're forced, for lack of a better word, you are compelled, because that is the learnings that, when we started, you must love God, the creator. That was how we were groomed, until we became adults and we started understanding that, there is no force in it. It is actually a good thing to love God, because if you're able to love God that you cannot see, and you have this deep connection for divinity, then it will be easier for you to love the ones that you can see. It will be easier for you to, so when I said that, we were compelled to, I saw your face. Eh? What's Grace talking about? But it's the truth. We were taught. It came to us as a teaching. And when I remember, when we were growing up, when they were teaching us how to, I asked so many questions, saying, where is God? Where is his house? Does he see us? Can he see us right now? We were asking those questions because we're asking from a place of curiosity. How is it possible to love God that you're not able to see? So the next thing I want to ask is, how can you love yourself and don't look like you're being selfish? Because they'll say self-love. So for me, I, as a mental health advocate, there's this mantra that I say every other day: self-care is not selfish. And when we talk about self-care and self-love, we use them interchangeably. So the next thing I want to ask, okay, after loving God first, and then you're loving yourself, what is it that you would say that you do to ensure that, yes, indeed, you're loving yourself? Because before you continue, there was a case we were I had, and the person said that, I do everything, but she doesn't feel loved. And then when I asked the lady to describe love, what does love look like to her, she didn't know how to break it down. So it is very interesting for us to throw out the word out there. But the question is, how do you even love yourself? What are the practical things that you do to show that indeed you truly love yourself? Over to you, ma'am.
I love, 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 love that question so much. And I feel like if you had asked me this question, maybe just a few years ago, even months ago, I might have faltered or I would have just probably answered superficially. But right now, I am grateful for the journey that I've been on, and thankful for the things that I'm learning, the things I'm unlearning and relearning. For me, loving myself right now is acceptance. First of all, accepting that I am loved by God, the one who created me and the one who decided to die for me. Accepting that has also given me the opportunity to love myself. And that includes the faults, the bad side of me, the things that sometimes make me feel guilty about who I am or makes me feel ashamed. But accepting it, first of all, like, Ejiro, you really suck at this thing. Adriel, like you're such a, I mean, how can you be that? How can you think like that? How can you act like that? How can you be so, nasty like that? But I accept it. Like I've come to that place now. Before now, it's like, no, I cannot be that. No, it's not me. Maybe somebody made me do that. But right now, it is I. I am it. Right? So for me, loving myself is accepting myself because I know God accepts me. God loves me for who I am, even beyond what I am currently aware of about myself. So as I grow and as I become more aware of some parts of me that I didn't know even existed, remember just a few months ago, some situations I was in that I told you, like, Grace, I did not realize I still had that level of anger in me. But this situation I was in made it like I could not believe in my wildest dreams. If somebody has told me that I could be that furious, I would say never. But that situation made me realize, wait, ah, 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 ah. Hey, just pray to the Lord your God that you are not put in this kind of position for too long. But again, what am I talking about? I am grateful that I was in that situation because what it does for me is it also brings me to a place of humility. So that I calm down. So when you see other people go angry and you be like, it's not that deep now. Why are you you're too temperamental? It's because you've maybe probably not been pushed to the wall like that. But I got to that point and I could not even believe myself. I played the scenario back in my head and I'm like, I'm the one screaming like this. I'm the one so angry. I was almost like shaking. I'm like, what? I still have this level of anger in me. So I had to come to terms like, okay, fine. This is there. This is there. So it's like, but in accepting that in that moment made me calm down the more to say, there is work to be done. And so guess what? When I got to this point, when I started to read this book and it exposed me to a new layer of what love is, I'm like, come on now. It made it easy for me to accept it and not looking at it. You know how you will be in church sometimes and a preaching is going on, and you are there busy analyzing the person that this message is for. Like, I wish Grace was here to hear this message because this is how she used to react. Forgetting that you are there sitting there, you have your own, as in you can filter through what is being said to you. So for me, this is what this part, again, love for me, personal love for me, self-love for me is acceptance, accepting who I am, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then looking at it objectively and saying, how can I grow out of this? Because understanding that is to know that love is not finite, is infinite, like it's never ends, and so we continue to grow into it. And so it's accepting where I am now, the level I'm at love. That's why I said, okay, you're a lover girl, and it doesn't mean that I don't show love, but it means that when we speak about, because there are different type of love, but when we speak about, let's say, romantic love right now, I am not there right now. It's not a thing for me at the moment. Do you get what I mean? So that's why I'm not a lover girl as of now. Maybe I was, maybe I even wasn't. But life is teaching me to see, to unpack who I am, where I'm at when it comes to the level of love. Yeah.
So let me even tell you, I love what you just said, by the way. I love it. Absolutely. I love it. And for me, I always call myself a work in progress, right? I think I'm permanently going to use that term for myself. However, I am, as much as I am a work in progress, I am seeing myself evolve and I'm scoring myself. And like you said, acceptance is the first. If there was anything to go by, acceptance is top on my list as well. And then speaking of, I was just hoping, I was hoping I wouldn't forget something that you mentioned that I wanted to touch on. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. So, you're a lover girl, right? And I say that without mincing words. Okay, lover girl. Now, okay, you were very specific about when in a romantic setting. I understand that bit, but I understand that you're so full of love. You know how I identify people that are lovable and loving? It's the passion in wanting to help. So in wanting to help people achieve their goals, for me, that's how I identify someone that is loving. And that's one thing, and I'm telling it to you right now, if I've never told you before. Every time I watch you do what you do, I see love, I see God. It's so easy for me to identify people that are like God. Yes, I dare say people that are, so I quickly say that, look, and I don't just say it, I also catch myself that, Grace, what you're doing right now, does it look like what you call love? Does it look like what you would call love? Is that love? Because if we say God is love, then what we're saying is the actions, the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, it has to look like love. It has to look like love. So how do I catch myself? I catch myself, and that this is me practically speaking, and this can come off as irritating to some people. When we're talking about, I wish Grace was here listening to this thing that this person was saying. What came to my mind is that sometimes, when you're trying to help someone, it happened recently. I am this person that it is a known fact. This has been me ever since I was a child, and it just became very obvious now that I'm a grown person, and it now makes sense because of what I do. If I see someone that I know that I can help that person be better than what they are, like what I'm seeing them do at that moment, I am up for it. I don't know where that, I don't know. I don't know where. Sometimes, I say to Lola, who sent me? What was my business? Just like I saw a lady that was selling banana, very cheerful girl. She and other women, I really loved I loved her energy. So every time I would go and buy from, and I'll tell the other women, Mona no vex. So the only time where I go buy banana for una hand now when this girl no dey here. I used to tell them, and they're like, auntie, sometimes buy from us now. That was how much I really liked her. So one day I approached her and I said to her that, tell me about your education. What have you finished secondary school? And then she said, yes, that she's having issues with mathematics and everything. And I said, okay, that's not bad. That, do you know you can do something, apart from this banana that you're selling, and these days, once you just even know how to do computer, if you don't want to further, it's not a big deal. You can just be good at that point, and you're working in you can work in an office and all of that. She said that she'd love it. So I said, let's do it. When you finish selling your bananas, or when you have 1 hour break, you can just keep with your colleagues and then come. I'll teach you Microsoft Word. I'll teach you something, and then we'll start from there. Guess what? This girl started dodging me. Oh. She started dodging me. She would say, auntie, So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because one of the ways to show that God is love and you are love and you're a product of love is how you show up in life. So I needed to say that when you said I'm not a lover, I see love all over you. In fact, every time you open your mouth, I see love. Every time I see you, wanting to help people achieve their goals, I see love. And, that's another thing that we'll talk about, where people feel that love is only in a building or in the scope of man, woman, or in the scope of mother to children, father to children. We'll talk about that later. But, moving on from what we were saying around acceptance, loving self, and accepting your flaws, accepting the things that you're good at, the things that you're not good at, and owning them as part of who you are, is is words on marble. Words on marble. If we can get to that point where we accept our strengths and weaknesses and harmonizing them and seeing them as something that we should first of all accept, I think the major work is done. Major work is done. So for me, I agree with you that self-love, the number one attribute of understanding yourself and reaching the point where you know that you truly love yourself, is accepting your flaws and accepting what you have as your strength. So the second question I would ask, or something I want to talk about, is in accepting yourself. Now you have gotten to that point that, look, I am not perfect. I've not gotten everything. I mean, I don't have everything all set out, but I am accepting the good and the bad. So what are the practical things that you say in loving yourself, or the things that you do in loving yourself after accepting yourself? What other things do you do practically to also show people that, look, I love this girl and I love everything about this girl? How can there is this saying that people people would take what you give them, meaning that, and this is new knowledge. I think I'll just let you answer that question, and then the next thing would be this thing I'm about to say.
I love it. And I love how we're building up on this, to say, okay, this is what love looks like for each of us. And these are the things that we think that, how to grow in love. So after accepting myself to say, okay, these are my flaws, what else do I do? Again, like I said, the beginning is that God is love. And if I'm able to accept that love from God, then I am able to accept me for who I am as well. But then the next thing is, then what? So for me, maybe this is because, or this is due to my faith and my upbringing as a Christian, or as a Jesus girl, is that the whole essence of Christ coming and dying for us, and as the foundation of my faith as a Christian, is love. Love is the essence of it. He loves us so much. He wants us to be connected back to him, and then he died for us so that we can have this connection. So at the end of the day, so that what can happen after that, so that we can love upon him and we can worship him and we can be like him. So in being like him, it's the fact that I love him, or I'm trying to grow in love with him. Because this is what I say every time, even when I pray, I'm like, God, I love you. But I don't think, even when I say that with all sense of like, God, I don't even think I truly understand what love is, right? But I love you with the level of what I think love is. And my daily prayer is that I may love you more, that I may honestly love you with the whole of my heart and everything. So, in that love, when you are in love with a thing, a new, like you said, new knowledge that just came into my awareness while reading this book, is that love is equals to time. Love is time. Because time is one of the only commodities in life that when you give, you can't get back. It's gone. It is gone. So, one way to show what you love is to see what you spend time with. So, if I'm saying I love me, I got to spend time with me to know me. If I'm saying I love God, I have to spend time with God to know him more. If I love what I do, I have to spend time doing what I do. I love to serve. That's why you see me everywhere where there's service, as long as I have the capacity to serve. I love to talk. That's why we find time, no matter how bad the week has gone. Once this mic comes on, hey, we are on. I can off the mic right now and go back to sulking. It doesn't matter. But I love this. I love the opportunity to share. I love the opportunity to speak to people. I love the opportunity to be able to open up in conversation that will get people thinking. Do you see what I mean? So love is time. And so when I look at it from that angle, these are the things that kind of let me know, okay, I'm beginning to love up. So I'm loving up with myself. I'm beginning to understand, like, how can I spend more time with me? How can I know me? Just like what you said, how you spent your weekend. Sitting with your thoughts and actually thinking about what you're thinking about. That is you spending time with you, because there are things that we do not know about ourselves because we're not spending enough time with ourselves. So we don't know the extent of which we can do something, or the extent of how terrible we can be, because we have not spent time with our thoughts and ourselves, right? So if I truly claim to love me, I need to create that time. And that is where the concept of self love is not selfishness. No, it's because the more I know me, the more I'm able to relate better with you. Because, for example, if I know me enough to know what triggers me, I am able to communicate that with you better. And when I'm able to communicate that with, imagine you too, you are aware and you're able to communicate that with me. Do you see how frictionless our relationship would be? It doesn't mean that the friction will not come, but when it pops up, we are able to still have a conversation around it to say, EJ, no vex. So that's the way I talk. And I say, I don't even know if you talk about, she say, I just found out about that. So please bear with me. But then you're able to communicate that with me, and I'm able to accept it and understand it with you, because I know that we have both come to the point in our lives where we know we are constantly work in progress. And so when we get into a new knowledge of who we are, get into a deeper level of awareness of who we are and what we can do, it's easy for both of us to communicate that with each other. And guess what? It makes our relationship even deeper. Imagine if every single person gets to understand that about who they are. Forgiveness will become easier, because now you're able to see, this thing this person did to me is very, very sad and very hurting and everything. But they probably did it or reacted that way or did that thing because they didn't even realize they had that kind of attitude in them. So they just got to that point where they've realized it. And if they love themselves enough, they will know that that's an opportunity for growth. And if they know that that's an opportunity for growth, it is quick for them to apologize to me. Not just because they want to apologize, but because they sincerely look at it like, Umo, I really messed up. Oh. But this is an opportunity for me to learn. But this other person is not aware that I just got to know that about myself. If I love me enough and I know I want to grow, I will be able to communicate it with you and say, Grace, I am so sorry for what happened. Honestly speaking, that thing popped up and I didn't even know where it popped out from, but it's something that I'm just aware of and I'm going to work on it going forward. Please bear with me. Guess what happens? You now also know, or you now also are aware that I just got into that awareness. See, unless you are demon, that's when you will not understand with me, because now it changes the conversation. You become, you step into empathy. You step into empathy at that point to say, wow, okay, no problem. It hurts me, but since it's a work in progress, okay, I'll be able to. In that instant, it's just it leaves the stage of you being hurt with me, you being vexed with me, you being angry with me, to a point of okay, we are friends, right? Let's help you. So I'll keep you accountable. It switches the conversation. Like now, so when you do it again, the first thing that comes if I do that thing again for example, the first thing that comes to your mind is not that what's wrong with this girl? Is she okay? Why did she do it again? It will be Ejiro, you said we were working on this thing. Pay attention. You have messed up again. I'm just telling you. And now I don't take that as you don't even understand what's wrong with. I take that as thank you, Gracie, for understanding and for keeping me accountable. Guess how life will become sweeter if all of us have that attitude and that understanding. We will grow and love will spread, and there will be less hate, there will be less unforgiveness, and life will just be better. Yeah, that's what I think.
I love it. I absolutely love what you just said. And I'll tell you why. You know, there's something that I'm known for in my house and even in my space. I like to give excuses for people. If you just come now and tell me that this person, I'll say, how do you know? Do you know what did she do to you? I know how to give excuses for people. Hey, in fact, somebody almost called it like, is it a trauma? I said, don't worry. There's a reason why. There is a reason why I love giving excuses for people. And there's also a reason why I like to give grace. Maybe because my name is Grace, but I will give you grace. There is a reason why. Now, I've been in a position where I reacted, in a particular way because I thought that this person should be able to know better, right? So in that way, I reacted in a very funny way. But when it was flipped and I found myself in the shoes of that person, I'm like, oh. And there's a way the universe, in fact, it's so interesting how the universe teaches. There's the way I learn these days. I'm beginning to beg that please, don't show me in a way where I would have to collect it better. Over the weekend, my water bottle broke, and I have always antagonized everybody. I had this customer that came like 4 or 5 times to buy the same bottle, and I'm like, you're very careless. I didn't say it to her that way. I was teasing her, like, are you careless with this bottle? This bottle is actually like a bottle, but you need to handle it with care. If not, it will break. So I now told her that as much as I want to be selling this thing, this one should be the last one that you come and buy from me. Handle it with care, right? I was saying it because I was handling my own bottle with care. I'd used that particular one for 2 years. But over the weekend, it was on top of my reading table, and I was carrying my bag, and it just fell bagaga on the floor. Now, kudos to me, that particular bottle was already 2 years old before that thing happened. But what happened? But did it happen? Yes, it happened. It fell down and it broke. So it may probably be the same thing that happened to those people as well. And that's why this looks like something really little that I'm using as an example, but it has happened in bigger things where somebody might just do something to me and I would be like, it's okay, it's fine. I will feel the pain. Don't get me wrong. I will definitely feel the pain, but I would give them another chance. I'm like that. I do that too much that some people started saying that, are you sure it's not a trauma? No, it's not a trauma response, because I will give you that long rope and give you the opportunity to learn, because I want you to also give me the opportunity to learn and grow. So I do that because I know that we make mistakes. I do that because, if we were to be judged and condemned based on the things that we did to even our parents, to our loved ones, and we will not be here at all. We should not even open our mouth to talk. However, do I permit that for a long time, constantly? No, ma'am. I don't. So what time? I mean, how am I able to measure that? Now, for a particular thing, for a particular situation, if you do something to me, with a particular situation that has never happened before, I would let it fly. I would tell you that, look, this thing is because, again, it is how I'm loving myself. I'm loving myself in that way that sometimes, so that is why I also give it out to people. When I make mistakes, before I used to be critical. Grace, you should know better. You call yourself intelligent. Why you blah 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 blah. I will finish myself by myself. Thank God for growth, and thank God for knowledge. So because I was so critical of myself, and because of the things that I would not allow, I was not think I would say without mincing words, I was not doing good in some areas because I was over criticizing myself. So I realized that Grace, your name is Grace, give yourself grace. You have to measure and know that, see, this thing that you have done, if you do it again, that means you did not learn the lessons you did not learn. You want to stop and analyze. Why are you doing it again? And where did you miss it? I would now sit down with myself and analyze it and see that, oh, I think I did it again because I didn't think that blah, blah, blah. So I'll give myself that grace. Until I now do it again, I'm like, come, it be like say you won't collect. It's not the worry you need. You don't do it once, you don't do it 2 times, you don't do it 3 times. You want see they do and they go waiting, So of course there is a timeline and there is a measuring tool that I use to know that I am not complacent and I'm not dancing in my folly and I'm not dancing in my inadequacies, all in the name of I am work in progress. And it gets to a point where you can do it millions and millions, depends on the situation there, because there's a way we comprehend and there are some things that we have done over time that we're used to it, and our subconscious is sitting down there. But if it's this one, no, we're not unlearning it. If it's this one, no, we're not unlearning it. So you have to do the work unconsciously. You have to do it unconsciously, and that's where you need help. So it gets to the point where if I see that I'm doing it, in that case, I will know that, Grace, this time around, you need an external help. You need a third eye to see that you're doing this thing as a result of something traumatic or something that you have done for so many years. So that's how much I love myself. I call myself Grace So Amazing for a reason. Because apart from the fact that I'm amazing, right? I also know that if I don't show up being amazing, I will not attract amazing things to myself. I will not just attract amazing things to myself. And that is why I give myself, some people be like, before we used to insult some people that say, that man too they call himself person, too they feel big, too they call himself person. I say, now only him. Now, the new knowledge is those people carrying themselves with not with pride. Now, let us not miss, English has a way of giving another meaning to something, but if you're saying it in a local dialect, you understand what I mean. It is the way you carry yourself.
With
it is
worth.
the way your worth. God bless you. You cannot see somebody that gives himself or herself, that carries himself with so much respect, that carries himself, that values himself, and then you now come and do the person jabba jabba. It's almost impossible, so that's why I am learning first to be able to value Grace and to also see that Grace is indeed amazing, not just in words, but in the things that she's doing. And how is she measuring it? And how is she even seeing that what she's doing is really amazing? That's why I have people around me that I have given the opportunity and I've given the authority to call me out when I'm misbehaving, or when I'm doing things that are not in alignment with what I say I am, so I'm very accountable. One way to show that I truly love myself is being accountable, submitting myself, to learning, submitting myself to caution, to calling out. I've given myself out that, look, if I did mess up for this, tell me. So that's another way that I show myself that, Grace, you are loved. Now, I think we're going to wrap up with this, and it's very important because some people are listening, and we've talked about love from God. Let us talk about the people that brought us to this life, to this earth. How can we relate how we were loved to how we love? How can we relate to how we were loved and how we love? They say it is the way that you learn certain things. Some things may happen along the way. Yeah, we keep growing and we keep learning. But there are some things that can hardly change. There's some things that can hardly, and that's why I always say that I cannot not I can I it is hard for me to find myself not loving, because I was loved mercilessly. Goodness, if you know me, if you've lived with me, if you hate me, you almost hate me. At some point I had to stop saying certain things about how my parents loved me, because some people some people didn't get that love, and it was looking like I was showing off, or I was like, should I shut up about what happened to me because you didn't, But I've become more sensitive, that I sometimes would want to hear how the person, before I start saying. But I still cannot, like, all right. So let me shut up. So tell me, is it possible, maybe not necessarily you now, but do you think there's a relationship with how people love others as a result of there's a relationship between how people were loved and how they love others? And if yes, please do share.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a strong relationship. And I think it doesn't even just affect us as humans, it also affects the relationship we have with God sometimes. So, especially for people who didn't grow up in a Christian background, for example, Christianity is what I'm confident about and what I'm used to. So, it's like people then interpret the love of God with the love of their father. Because again, you see, God is our heavenly father. So people can, and I think that's one of the struggle that a lot of Christians have, that they cannot relate it. Like, my dad wasn't even there. I didn't even know him. He didn't really care. So when they kind of carry that mindset to relating with God, so it's difficult. Like, even the one that that I know that I can touch eventually, even if he's here in this room now, he didn't care for me. So how am I even sure you, Heavenly Father, that I'm hearing about, like, you really care? I've been praying about this thing. Like, you are not answering me. Like, how do I know you care? So exactly, and that's why it's easy for people to just move on. Like, so no, I don't understand it. I can't relate with it. I can't call him my father. I don't understand it. But again, it still happens from a place of growth, where when you release yourself, when you, just like you said, like, now you've grown to be more sensitive, to want to listen to others people experience of love. It's the same thing with us. If we release ourselves to say, you know what, God, I really don't understand this dynamic of you being my father, but if you can show me, I would appreciate it. It's funny, but it does. If we really leave ourselves open to it, he does show how true love, how a father can love upon a child. And it is true that our relationship with our parents can actually affect us. It passes on even to generations, right? The same way, if your parent gave you tough love, automatically, if you don't get to a point where you become conscious and you become intentional and you sit with yourself to really learn and to see these things, you will pass it on automatically. Even when you are physically professing, like, I cannot be like my mom, God forbid. If you don't work on it, you will be like, if I split image, split image of her, that's what you will become. This same book, I know it feels like, what was wrong with you? See, it's my story, it's my reality, and I cannot keep quiet about it. This same book, I know I've missed a couple of days, but I was currently reading Day 33. And Day 33 was talking about, how to, there's this thing called shape. There's this framework called shape, how God has shaped us for purpose. And one of the things that it was talking about are 5 things that, can show us how to understand our shape, how God is shaping us for our purpose, our experiences, let me even quickly look at it. And there were some questions that was asked, Gracie. I think this was one of the things that took me to where I did not know that last weekend. I entered into the weekend. I just blew my mind, because that just took me on a journey I didn't expect to go on. And by the time I went on that journey, it messed up my emotion and everything. the part is employing so part of it is your using your personality, and part of it is like our experiences. And it says like there are 6 experiences that we need to examine to help us understand our shape and how God has used everything around us to shape us for the purpose He has created us for. 1, family experiences. 2, educational experiences. 3, vocational experiences. 4, spiritual experiences. 5, ministry experiences. And 6, painful experiences. Now, the journey began for me when it said family experiences. And the question they ask is, what did you learn growing up? And when I started to look at that and look at some of the things I'm currently struggling with, case in point, for example, and we're rounding up soon, is I struggle with the concept of selling, for example, right? It's a journey I've been on for a while. And it's not because I've not sold grace. I've been selling all my life. Like say, you don't understand. I've sold. I've been sales girl. I've when I remember when I was growing up, I was like I was working with this a man that had a magazine for teens. So we'll go to schools with him, secondary schools, and kind of talk about the magazine, and we will sell. We will sell in classes. The magazine was 20 naira back then. We will sell. We will sell plenty. From there, I started to sell potties. Like there's this person in Surulere that did this Vim, a version of it. This person uses eggshell and created and did the eggshell, mix it up. It was good for cleaning pots. I would take part of it and I would sell. When I was a tea girl in the bank, I sold. I did Zobo. I did toast bread. So, girl, I've been. So I started to ask myself, like, what did I learn?
What did I learn?
But maybe you didn't like the experience. Did you like it then when you were selling?
Well,
okay, go on.
Maybe not
all of them.
Maybe not all of them. And I get you, and I had to go back to that place. Like, why? Because I had to look at it from that angle. Like, what did I learn? From my family, what did I learn that is probably holding me back now? And I started to think about it. It took me back to my childhood. How Popsy was no, my dad was a sailor, so he's always traveling. If we're partly Yoruba somehow. If we're going to go by that and give all of us Yoruba name, all of us for my family will be Abidemi, because none of us they were my Popsy, they when they're born us. All of us na Abidemi. I started to think about it, but it took me on that journey. Do you see? To going back and saying, what is that thing that I've picked up from the past? What is that thing? But when we come back to it's still a journey I'm going on. Like, hey, God, what did I learn that is stopping me? Because I know I can sell. I even have a natural gifting for persuading people. Like, I can tell you about something and you'll be convinced about it. You'll be inspired to do the thing. So when it comes to me now selling my waiting the apple, go, I'm still on that journey to find out, guys. So please, if you know anything, if you have a solution, slide into my DM. Let's talk about it. I need help in that regard, right? But coming back to the topic of love, see, I knew I was loved because number one, I'm a special kid. Understand? I'm a special kid. It took 11 years of my parents waiting for the fruit of the womb before I came along. So my dad loved me pieces. Hey, I not go lie, my popsy first teach me how to kiss. Because as a child and as a Niger Delta kid, I mean they serve Ogogoro that year now. For I mean they serve Ogogoro that year. We know how to serve the team. Your segware, you say, those things. And my dad will want to give me, maybe he will not want people to know. He will kiss me to give me ogogoro in the mouth. Do you understand? I say this, my dad is loving. I love him to bits. It pained me that he did not wait to come and join one more. But I hope that my prayer now is, I hope is actually with God right now, so that I won't miss him when we get to heaven. At least I don't know what heaven is going to be like, whether we'll remember we're family. But at least I think we will know that I know you now. Right? But I knew he loved me. I wish if he was educated, I think he would have done everything within his power to give me the best life. Because even with his lack of education, he gave me the best he thought. My dad is my parent, both of them were not educated, but they were those people that they did not force us to be anything. Typically, you know, typical Nigeria, you must be this, or that. They were the ones that like, with anything where you want, when una want, do more kuna explore. But imagine if they were educated. Do you get what I mean? They would have probably guided us better. To say, hey, Jura, I still say you they like TV, all this presenting to, oh yeah, go and study mass comm, or go to this school broadcasting. Do you get what I mean? But they didn't know better. So it was for us that once I say, this is something, like, okay, try it. I mean, when I was growing up, when I was a child, I was a child evangelist. I just said, I love to preach. I love to. My dad bought me megaphone, and I would go out in the mornings to do morning cry in the bush. Oh,
No be today your podcast starts. No be today.
not be today. And I was like maybe 8 years old back then. And I would go early morning. He bought me a megaphone. They bought me torchlights because it was bush. So it was a bit scary. It was that year, those years, dawn was still very dark. Like as 5 a.m. is dark, thick darkness. It was so scary back then.
And you go alone.
Yes. My mom would just pray for me.
My mom would just pray for me and say, "The Lord be with you. The Lord say, problem. I will go.
Sis,
I
let
will
me
go.
tell you.
Sis, let me tell you.
Years later, there were people who were testifying. Like, do you know there was a family
who were originally Muslim?
Like, we kept hearing this child. Who is that child that always preaches early in the morning, as early as 5 a.m.? Because I will preach before I'm not prepared to go to school. And so, like, who is that child? Later on, they found out that this is the church she went to. Because again, when I finish my preaching, I'll do call, like, just say this prayer with me. And in case you don't have a Bible, you need a Bible believing church, I will talk about my church. My church was one of the churches in the area. So somehow she found her way. She gave her life to Christ and the whole family. It was years later. She became a band leader. I joined her band. It was when I was in a band that she told me that stuff. I was like, what? Do you see? So again, but my dad loved me. At some point, I loved taking pictures. My dad bought me a camera, a Kodak camera. So I was taking pictures I was taking pictures when I was a child, and I knew all the developers in my area. I would go and develop into film and look at the negative and see the one I wanted to print out. Do you see what I mean? So imagine if he was really educated, he would have guided me. Because so that love, guess what? That love now, even when things happen the way things happened and life just did this thing, I cannot blame my dad. I knew he could have done better. I knew he could have probably pushed harder, but he couldn't. But I cannot hold him. I cannot see him another leg. I just feel like he did the much he could. Why? Because he expressed the love to me as much as he could. My popsy now he runs guy, like, you get what I mean? So to answer the question in a nutshell is to say that yes, the way you receive love from childhood can actually affect the way that you give it. But as we grow, just like you said, that's why we're constantly work in progress. As we grow, we should pay attention to what we've learned and see what we can unlearn and what we can relearn to say, okay, how can I change this? How can I make this better? And I think that's the whole essence of living.
I love this conversation, and I love that. I think the fact that our guest did not come, brought us, it made us. I love it. Not be you will say, and I was just saying it. Except I never they talk for. I just knew that, and that's what working on yourself can do. You can never be caught unaware. Like, look at you. You started off saying that I'm not blah, 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 and look at you practically gave us hot nuggets, and I'm loving every bit of it. What you just said has given me an assignment. Because, and I'm going to end with this. There is a way. And these things can work in. It can work to our advantage, or to it can be an advantage or a disadvantage. There is a way that a child can be loved to a point that when she's old and she doesn't see half of that love that she got, it's also a problem. Either ways, it could be a problem. And I think that was the story for me. I got to a point where I wasn't seeing love. I was like, this is love. My father, you were talking about kissing. My father still kissed us, all of us. He still kissed us as adults, So there wasn't, you had to work extra hard to show me that you love me, because my dad did it all. My parents did it all.
The standard was high.
The standard was just too high. That when somebody is showing that they love me, that they don't, I'm like, you never even start. Because the one way they give me past this one. What are you talking? You understand? So it took me, now it's not that I've reduced the standard. I have started teaching my partner that this is how, exactly, this is how I feel love. I'm teaching my partner that look, you don't shout. My father, they do me like egg. You do me like egg. Get. But before I'll be like, is this one mad? Is this one, what is wrong with this one? This one doesn't know how to love somebody. But I didn't know that my standard was, it was high, because I was not just me, 8 of us. My parents did not drop anyone. My mom and 8 of us, the same experience. Some may feel love more than, I like calling myself the favorite, but as old as we were, and in fact, on my 25th birthday, I came home and my mother said, come here, let me give you a peck, or let me come and sit on my, I'm like, Dad, I'm 25. He said, oh, you see that little girl running off. God bless his soul. But I'm saying that either ways, it could work for us or against us if we're not aware. But I'm happy where I am now, because instead of antagonizing or feeling bad that this person is not loving me half the way my parents love me, is to help them understand that this is what love looks like to me. This is how I would rather be loved. This is, so that's what growth can do, right? So the beautiful thing is that we started this conversation in a very wonderful way, and I love it. I love every bit I have learned from you. There's some things that you said that I would have to go back and even ask myself. And thank God we're reading the book together. I'm not where you are yet, but I'm already anticipating that I'm going to love and I'm going to have an experience when I get to that point. Next week, we're going to have some singles. So we're going to shift from this love of God, parental love, and everything to the love that now that that creation even started from. Let's stop making romantic love or love between man and woman look bad. That's what we're here. Man meets woman, meet together and produce us. So next week we'll start, yes, and procreate. So we'll start, setting the tone of what it means to love or to be in a relationship, or what, as a single person, both male and female. We're hoping that we'll bring a male and a female to come on board, and then eventually we'll bring a couple, husband and wife, that would come and tell us. I'm excited just thinking about it. Right. So just stick around, tell a friend to tell a friend that this month you don't want to miss any of our shows. You want to be here, you want to contribute. And we were so in love, we were so in love with ourselves that we did not even see if anybody joined the conversation or if they are saying anything. Anyways, if you're going to be watching, hi Ryan. Ryan is loving on EJ. Nice one. So I think what was there to say? Okay, I'm going to let you round up, but please remember, if you're watching this later, share, like, and subscribe, so that we can know that you're loving us back just as we're loving you. And again, it's the month of love. Do well by loving someone. All right, babes, let me allow you wrap up the show, and we'll see you next week.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Grace, so amazing. It's been a wonderful conversation. Honestly, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I love to talk. I love to share. And given the right kind of questions, how am I done when it poor. And what better person to do it than Grace? So amazing. She asks amazing questions. And I look forward to this series for the rest of the month as we cover the subject of love on a personal level. On, today we've started with the personal level. Next week, hopefully, we can get two single people, a male and a female. So in case you're watching this now or watching it later and you love to be a part of the conversation, like, no, I want to come and talk about love from the perspective of a young man or a woman, please reach out to us. Don't be scared. This is an opportunity for you to use your voice, to lend your voice to a subject matter that can actually help somebody. I believe that some of the things I've shared here today, I've never shared before, but I also believe that in sharing them, you learn something about me. I'm also learning in the process of sharing, and I hope that it inspires something in you. Maybe you asking some certain questions and looking into your own, story and seeing how your childhood has shaped the person that you are today. And also, we're looking forward to hosting a couple before the end of the series. So if you know any couple that you would like to hear from, please give us expo. Let's reach out to them. Just maybe they might just say yes. Of course, we know people as well. We're going to reach out to the people we know. But guess what? If we have multiple people, we will bring them, all of them, let them come and share. Because again, we need to talk about this love thing. Because there's this, media has a way of just bamboozling us and feeling like there's no love, no real love. Real love still there. Let me tell you something. True love still exists, okay? It depends on where you're looking and who you're looking at. So we are hopeful that we're going to have this deep conversation around love. And if you've enjoyed today's session, again, like Gracie said, please share with somebody. Leave your comments in the comment section if you're watching the replay. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us both on LinkedIn. If we're not connected yet, connect with us. And let's come again next Monday as we talk about love, because it's the month of love. Happy Valentine's to you. Happy Love Month. Please remember, it starts with you. Love you, because if you don't love you, how can you love me? If you don't love you, you're lying. You don't love me anything. But so if you love you, I know that I can love, because I love me, die, and I love you too. And that's why we come here every Monday. God bless you. See you next week. Bye.